Hi everyone, my name is Emily Singer Lucio and I'm the ADA 504 coordinator for the University of Maryland.
I'm Molly Lea. I am a first-year grad student here at the University of Maryland, and I'm thrilled to be here today.
Thanks, Molly, and we're glad to have you. So, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure, I'm a first-year grad student. I'm majoring in library science, and I want to be an archivist.
I'm sorry, you want to be a what? Say it again.
An archivist.
Oh, nice. Very good. Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about what it was like learning you had a disability?
Well, for me, I've had a disability my whole life. So I was diagnosed with both of my genetic conditions, which are Becker syndrome and Walker malformation when I was born. So I never really knew much different than doctors and hospitals growing up. So it wasn't really this moment of learning I had a disability. It was just, I wear hearing aids, I've always worn hearing aids, and all of that.
Yeah, so you had a disability from the day you were born, right? And you had hearing aids from a very young age, from about how old?
Yeah, I don't know exactly when I was diagnosed with a hearing loss, but I've had them since I was 18 months.
18 months, okay. Okay. And what was it like learning how to talk? Do you remember back then?
Not really. I mean, I was in speech therapy basically from the time I was 2 to most recently about 4 years ago, because just trying to correct my speech patterns, because one of the things I was born with was a loose tongue.
On your
So
tongue?
I had to have that surgically corrected.
Okay.
But as a result of that, I had to learn how to make sounds a different way. But it wasn't as intelligible, obviously.
So they were able to surgically correct it.
Yeah.
But that was different in terms of how you had sort of had to relearn how to make the sounds?
I'm not... Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So tell me a little bit about what that was like, and how it impacted you differently at different stages of your life.
I mean, it's a pretty broad question, but I'll answer it the best I can. So basically, growing up, I went to a normal is a relative term, but I went to public school.
Okay.
All from K through 12. I was pulled out, I think, 30 minutes a week for speech therapy,
Okay.
and I had a microphone that I used for teachers to talk right into my hearing aid. But other than that, I was just a typical student. As a matter of fact, I was in above grade level classes basically all the way from high school.
I love the fact that you said you were a typical student. I mean, having a hearing, something to help you with your hearing, right? And being pulled out to go to speech therapy, right? A lot of people would say, well, that's not typical. But so I love the fact that you said you were just a typical student, right?
I mean, basically, even what I've been through, I'm actually better average, since I was always smart.
Yeah.
I had this thing I just
Well, and I think
always communicating it.
Yeah, and I think that's a big misconception a lot of people have sometimes about certain types of disabilities. I think they sometimes automatically assume that certain types of disabilities mean that someone is not smart, right? And as we all know, any type of disability can also mean that students or individuals have the same level of of intellect as anybody else, right? Just because somebody has a learning disability, for example, you can also have somebody who's gifted, and has a learning disability, right? It's just how they learn that information, right?
Right, and it's you should mention that because also I always did well in English, but I always struggled with math.
Uh-huh.
And
I gotta tell you, I always struggled with math too. I did well in English, but I always struggled with math too.
Also, when I was in 8th grade, I did have some processing issues that were impacting my ability. Like, I would switch around numbers, and graphing was always a big issue.
Okay. So in addition to the hearing and the speech, you do have some processing issues.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but that doesn't mean you're not smart. And like you
Right,
said, you
exactly.
had advanced classes, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's good. What have you found helpful to share with people about yourself with others?
Well, I've always had a hard time with disclosing my story, just because I always wanted to seem like just another kid.
Mm-hmm.
But in the past, it's been helpful if people seem like they're not understanding me completely, I can say, if you're not understanding me, just ask me to write it down.
That's great, right? We have pens and paper, right? We have phones. You could text it if they're not understanding you, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally don't think there's any shame in asking anybody, right? If you can repeat something, either if you don't hear it or understand it. Or,
exactly.
because we all have selective hearing sometimes.
My whole life has been to repeat that or to write it down.
Uh-huh.
So,
do people ever get frustrated with you when you ask them to repeat things?
No, not really.
Good. And I'm assuming you're able to do that in class too, to ask professors to repeat things.
Yeah, definitely.
Good. Okay. What do you wish other people knew or understood about you?
That I'm smart, that I'm just like any average kid, and like reading and movies and all this other stuff that, just because the child doesn't understand me doesn't mean that I don't have a brain, you know?
Right. What's your favorite movie?
Simon Vincent.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a great classic movie. Yeah. What's your favorite book? You said you like reading.
I like a lot of nonfiction, history of film and TV.
Nice. Are you reading anything interesting right now?
Not really. Just, focus on school.
Not just school.
Yeah.
That's hard to find time for pleasure reading when you're in school,
Yeah.
right? What are some preconceived ideas you think people have about you?
Well, one of the biggest ones has been because of this, basically I have what's called an irregular malformation, which means I have a cyst in the back of my cerebellum. And part of what comes with that is fine motor control.
Fine motor control.
So sometimes I don't notice, sometimes I don't notice if I have saliva on the corner of my mouth or just anything like that. And I think sometimes people look at me and it looks like I have a disability. And people treat me differently because of that.
How do they treat you differently?
I think people just look at me differently, especially if that's coupled with not being able to understand me. People either pretend that they understand me or just ignore me.
How does that feel?
Not very good.
Do you ever talk to people about that?
Sometimes.
What do you say?
Just that sometimes I feel left out.
Do you have a good group of friends at school?
I do.
Good.
I think so.
Good.
Yeah.
And they're pretty accepting of who you are.
Yeah.
Good. What else? What other things are you interested in besides school? What makes you you?
Well, like I said, I love reading, and I love like older movies and older TV, and I love music.
Nice. Do you ever go to concerts and hear music?
I don't really have a lot of like current music concerts that I'm really interested in, but I like singing.
Great. Well, that's good. So what have been some of the biggest challenges you've had, and how have you worked through them over your life?
Well, I'd say my biggest challenge has been all of the mental problems that I've had to overcome. Like, I've had probably about over 20 surgeries.
20 surgeries?
Yeah, over.
That's a lot of surgeries in your lifetime. And how old are you, may I ask?
I'm 22.
That's a lot of surgeries between 0 and 22.
Yeah, I mean, granted, most of them were before I was 10, but...
Most of them were before you were 10?
Yeah, and several of them were for, like, repeat things. Like, I had to have my shunt replaced.
Where you have a shunt in your head?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a shunt hit, but I have hydrocephalus.
Okay.
And I had to have my shunt replaced, like, 6 times when I was a baby before they found one that worked.
Well, I'm sure it also impacted, like, as you were growing, right? They had to find one that fit the right size.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I've had to miss some school. And, you know, when I was in 5th grade, I had a major abdominal surgery, and I almost died, actually.
Oh my gosh, that's so scary. How old were you again?
I was 10.
And you said in 5th grade?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And, but, I made it, but I ended up missing, I think, 5 months of school.
Wow, that's a lot of time.
So, yeah, that put me pretty far behind. I think that's why I started to struggle with math so much. It's because I am put so far behind, and then, like, that processing issue, I just never really caught that up.
Too bad we didn't have Zoom back then, right?
Yeah.
Because you could have probably attended class from home, right?
Yeah.
Were you able to complete that year, or did you have to stay back?
I was able to complete that year, but I did go to summer school up to 25th and 6th grade, just to make sure I was ready for middle school.
Okay. And that actually makes an interesting question. And when I was asking about the Zoom, during the pandemic, did that make it more challenging for you? Was that better for you?
I think it was more challenging for me because of the isolation. And just not. I mean, I actually transferred in to UMBC that fall of the pandemic, so I started at a new environment in this online setting, and it was really hard for me to just adjust.
Yeah, I think it was hard for lots of people to adjust. It was new for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can imagine it was probably a little more challenging.
Yeah.
And I think the isolation impacted a lot of people, right? Not just people with disabilities.
Yeah, it did.
But it probably hit a lot of people with disabilities a little bit more harder than it did some people without disabilities.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people with disabilities live relatively isolated lives to begin with. Right? And so that little interaction they can have when they're either going to class or going out to the store or doing things.
Right. Especially for me because I don't drive. I don't have a license. So I'm kind of limited in how much I can go out anyway.
Yeah, you're reliant on public transportation.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all that's pretty much back to normal now, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Good. Anything else you want people to know about you?
Not that I can really think of. I mean, just, I'm willing to get to know you, and I hope others are willing to get to know me.
Great. Well, thanks, Molly. I appreciate you talking with me today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I do hope that this conversation opens people's eyes about what it's like to live with a disability. And for more information about resources at UMD about disability, please go to our website, accessibility website at accessibility.umd.edu. And thanks everyone for listening.